Ice Beam forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We send out Gliscor, just look to force some energy. If we let Virizian's energy get out of hand, this is going to be game over. Gliscor absorbs the Leaf Blade, and we're going to trust in the one shield Penguin, hopefully to clean up. I'm instantly going to be giving up that final Protect Shield on the incoming Sacred Sword. The opponent recognising they're going to get outpaced, pivot back out into Guzzlord. This Drill Peck won't be lethal. We need to farm down, and hopefully lethal with Drill Peck. The opponent looks to reach the Crunch, and they get there. Can Empoleon hang on? Crunch lands for heavy neutral damage. We get the farm down. The question is a Drill Peck going to be enough to knock out? Well, you're going to have to watch the video to find out. So welcome back to the channel. Today, we have a very fun showcase, actually featuring my own battles. And this is going to be a longer video, because this is one of the rare cases where I have a team that you can actually climb with. Shadow Empoleon is a fairly new Shadow Pokemon. We only got it around 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I was fortunate enough to get a fairly good one that I did use at the back end of last season. I paired it with Gliscors. I think that core is pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Even on Waterfall, I had some great success going positive in the 2900s. This season Empoleon got access to Steel Wing, so today we're putting that team back to work. So this is going to be a standard ABB team. We're going to obviously be using Gliscor as our anti-fighter / anti-electric with 2 water types in the back. The Suicune Safe Switch is hoping to draw out the hardest counter for our Penguin and hoping the Penguin cleans up. Without any further ado, let's get into the battle. And in game 1, we lead Gliscor into Empoleon. Not particularly great when shields are up. We attempt to catch the Hydro Cannon onto Suicune. The opponent hold their energy, fire off the Drill Peck, looking for some chip and dip, and then send out Annihilate. The Apes instantly met with the Scold. Scold goes unshielded, and you can see 2 will more or less be enough to knock out. This isn't enough for a Shadow Ball, so we should survive a Night Slash and hopefully force a shield advantage in the mid game. The opponent actually throw the Ice Punch. I think that's a pretty funny mind game, as the opponent now knows that I'll probably be giving up that shield when I do return with Gliscor. The opponent shields first, and I definitely don't fancy tanking a double super effective move. We send out Gliscor. I am going to respect the Ice Punch. We can then over farm, fire off the Night Slash. Hello game, would you like to stop lagging? I did post this to Niantic because this game is still running like crap. We fire off the Night Slash, securing the knockout back out. Comes the Penguin, and we're already in a tricky spot. We're going to shield at the Hydro Cannon. The opponent still 1 Protect Shield, 2 high beyond. We still get a huge amount of lag, but I'm full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? Get that Penguin off my screen. The opponent's final Pokemon is for Alligator when it counts to 5. Catch the Hydro Cannon onto Empoleon. And this still looks quite tricky. Can we pull it off? Let's see. We can even survive 1 more Hydro Cannon, which is going to be clutch, because hopefully Drill Peck will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. You can see we survive on quite literally 1 HP and a Dream. The opponent going to be forced to shield up the Drill Peck. They do get the Shadow Claw farm down. It's going to be a race. Can we outpace the Earthquake? Who was worried? And Gliscor is going to land back-to-back nukes and get us off to a 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we have restarted our app. And we actually get a fantastic lead. Oh, hello, Reggie. Nice to see you. Nice. The opponent safe switches into Poliwrath. We're going to look to catch the Icy Wind onto Suicune. And the opponent falls perfectly into our trap, throwing the non-stab Icy Wind. The opponent says, fuck this, and they're going to concede the match. Thank you very much. Moving swiftly on. We lead Shadow Gliscor into Charizard. Not the best matchup, to be honest. 2 better responses in the back, although the Penguin, now on Steel Wing, isn't as good as you might think. We count to 7, look to catch the Blast Burn onto Suicune, but the opponent bait us with a Dragon Claw, but regardless, we tank the damage as Suicune is incredibly thick. The opponent then answers my Suicune Safe Switch with Cresselia. We fire off the Scold, immediately getting the attack drop, which is perfect. Getting the attack drop there is actually massive, because if the opponent is on Grass Knot, which this opponent is, 1 Grass Knot will not put us into Psycho Cut farm down range. The opponent is going to be forced to throw. You can see they're going to be forced to throw pretty soon as well, as 1 further Scold is going to leave him incredibly low. The opponent fire off the Grass Knot. We've got energy on Gliscor, and this is a perfect opportunity to make that matchup against Charizard that is now a bit dicey, a lot better with a huge energy lead. We send out the Penguin. We're going to look for the full Steel Wing farm down. The opponent can throw whatever they like. A non-stab Grass Knot isn't going to do much, especially after a 1-stage debuff. The Penguin gets a huge Steel Wing farm down. The opponent sends out Charizard, then look to catch the Hydro Cannon onto Poliwrath. I react quick enough, throw the Drill Peck, force a protection, we pivot out into Gliscor, and we're full sending the Earthquake. Does the opponent respect the damage? Earthquake lands, rocking Poliwrath down to around a 3rd health. Of course, we can't Steel Wing farm down Poliwrath from here, so I'm going to give up protection on the incoming Icy Wind. I'm going to look for the full Wing Attack farm down. The opponent make the last second Icy Wind. However, we've got Poliwrath low enough that we can just come in, farm down with Empoleon, which we get. Win con for the opponent is full sending a blast burn. Trainer, enjoy yourself. The opponent looks to masturbate. We call the bait. Non-stab Dragon Claw doesn't get the job done. We're going to fire off the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. The first one forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second one is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Gliscor into Swampert. This team is ABA weak to Swampert. However, do I think Swampert's a good pick in a meta where Feraligatr is the top G? Not particularly, so I didn't expect to see it, but here we are. We managed to catch the resist the Hydro Cannon onto Suicune. The opponent's going to stay in, bank a further Hydro Cannon before pivoting out. Once again, my Suicune save switch is met with Cresselia. We go straight for the Scald, this time not getting the attack drop. However, we have got more health than the last battle. So even if this opponent is on Grass Knot, which they are, it looks like it's going to be a very difficult Psycho Cut farm down. Let's see if the opponent wants to commit to it. Suicune once again throws one Snarl and the next Scald, continuing to look to throw at good time, and the opponent doesn't commit to the farm down, recognising we'll make a further Scald. We're just going to let Suicune go down. We're going to send back out Gliscor, look to over farm. I'm actually going to throw the Night Slash when they would reach the next Grass Knot. However, the opponent actually doesn't throw. Night Slash does secure the knockout. This is a non-Shadow Swampert, so I do recognise I am going to tank a Hydro Cannon. Due to our sub Flying typing, this is going to be a very difficult Mudshot farm down. We tank the damage, full send the Earthquake, get that Swampert out of here. The opponent's final Pokemon is Togekiss, and this is going to be what I like to call checkmate trainer. The opponent continues to stay in, Empoleon deletes him in the blink of an eye, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see another Core Breaker. This Jellyfish, of course, has access to Surf. I'm going to anticipate the opponent throwing at good timing, which is an odd number. So we throw 7 wing attacks, anticipating the opponent looking to throw after 5, which they do. We manage to catch onto Suicune, and we're met with Scrafty. This is a very awkward matchup for Shadow Suicune, as despite us being a Shadow and Skull being a very good move, 2 don't knock out, and due to the sub Dark typing, our Snarls are absolutely nothing. The opponent fire off the foul play. We're going to outpace to the next Skull, but if the opponent's smart, they won't shield this, because we're going to be unable to Snarl farm down. All the opponent's got to do here is throw a foul play, and they're going to be in a pretty good spot. However, if the opponent throw a power-up punch, they're going to regret it. The opponent gets greedy, throw the power-up punch, we withstand the damage, and now we're either going to take switch or force a shield. The opponent just give up alignment, opt to send out Talonflame, and oof, this is not fantastic. If we were still running Waterfall, we'd be absolutely terrorising this Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death. However, these Steel Wings are now resisted. We tank the Flame Charge, we're going to throw 2 Steel Wings and the Hydro Cannon for optimal fast move timing. This will definitely be forcing a Protect Shield as it almost one-shots. We're then going to throw 1 Steel Wing. I don't know if I survived the next Incinerate, so we transfer it to Gliscor, and it's time to start fishing for a boost. The first Night Slash goes unshielded. I've got a 2-to-1 shield advantage, and I'm forced to shield this. Again, we're going to look to throw 2 wing attacks and the next Night Slash. This Night Slash will be very close to knocking out. If not knockout, the opponent survives. They actually give me 2 further wing attacks, and that is going to cost them. The opponent sends back out the Jellyfish. Again, 1, 4, and 7 all the way. The first Night Slash goes unshielded. Then we're going to throw 4 more. The opponent is now going to be 2 hexes off the next move. However, I believe I can 1 and throw, and we're going to outpace by a single turn and be able to win this match. The first Night Slash forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We do outpace by that single turn, and Gliscor is going to claim the dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. And we managed to go a very nice 5-0 with my first set running this team, heading into the next battle. Another Swampert. Are you fucking serious? Again, we're going to look to catch onto Suicune. Stay in school, kids. Learn to count. The first one comes after 5 mud shots. We throw 5 wing attacks, catch onto Suicune, and our Suicune save switch is met by Dragon Breath Giratina. The opponent spams the Dragon Claw as soon as they get it, giving us a free Snarl, and that is very helpful. 3 free turns of energy. We're going to go straight Ice Beam, looking to force some shields. The first Ice Beam forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. They just about outpace us by a single turn. I'm reluctant to shield this. We're just going to take our shield advantage. We're going to send back out Gliscor, go straight for the Night Slash, and start fishing for the boost. Come on, show me the boost. The RNG gods say, not today, trainer, and as they're on Dragon Breath, they're definitely going to chip me into Hydro Cannon range. The reason I didn't shield Suicune is Ice Beam probably does about 60-65% to Giratina, so it wouldn't have been lethal, so it would have been a wasted shield. The opponent gets off the Dragon Claw. The opponent now sends back out Swampert. Again, we look to catch the Hydro Cannon, back this time onto Empoleon. A very risky play, but the opponent has spam moves pretty much as soon as I got on throughout the game, so I think it was quite safe. High risk, high reward. This, of course, is an obvious Hydro Cannon, but I need to start shielding. The opponent then pivot out into the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Bird of Death. We throw 2 Steel Wings and the Hydro Cannon. It lands for massive damage. I'm going to commit to the farm down. Let's go, Penguin. We do get the farm down leave with the Hydro Cannon. If the opponent shields this, this is going to be game over. The opponent does indeed shield the Hydro Cannon. To be honest, they're pretty much forced to, as it does around half their health. We can now send back out Gliscor. Again, game. Why aren't you working? We get denied coming in, but regardless, we're going to be able to reach the Earthquake, and Earthquake is going to be massive overkill. Gliscor is a Swampert counter confirmed. You heard it here first. If you're looking at my energy generation, I think that's actually visual, because I did actually receive 1 wing attack's worth of energy, despite not throwing a wing attack. Another Swampert in the lead. For those of you that believe the algorithm, I don't know what to say. How have I seen so many Swampert? This time, my Suicune Safe Switch is met by Ampharos. Oof, this looks rough. We throw the Scald. We don't get the attack drop. If we get the attack drop, we would survive a Brutal Swing here. However, if it's a Thunder Punch, which it is, no attack drop would be saving us there. We're going to send out Gliscor. Gliscor is going to look to overfarm. We can tank any one move, but once again, this will put us into Hydro Cannon range. The opponent fire off the Brutal Swing. We're going to throw 3 wing attacks and the Night Slash. Night Slash more than enough to knock out. There's no need to full send an Earthquake. We do get the knockout. The opponent sends out Charizard. We pivot back out into the Penguin. We're able to reach the Hydro Cannon on the CMP tie. Hydro Cannon actually forced to Protect Shield. And we're going to call the bait. If the opponent full sends, it's going to be game over. The opponent does bait with the Hydro Cannon, but you can see that actually did so much damage. The opponent is, of course, going to go straight Hydro Cannon now. As we're definitely in Hydro Cannon range, we're going to be able to reach the next Hydro Cannon on the CMP tie. This does actually force the opponent's final Protect Shield, but win con from here is going to be very much relying on the RNG gods. Maybe they're in Night Slash range. I don't quite think so. So we're going to full send the Earthquake, guaranteeing the knockout, and then we're going to fish for the boost. When Charizard does return, if we get the Night Slash boost this first time, the next Night Slash will be lethal. Do we get the boost? Of course we don't. That's pretty brutal. Of course, we're going to shield this move up. The opponent isn't actually doubled up. I just shield just to show you. If we would have boosted, this next Night Slash would have definitely knocked out. You're going to see it's going to get him into the red. But regardless, the win streak is going to come to an end. GG's to that opponent. Very, very tough team comp to deal with. But we still made it pretty close. In the next battle, we see Giratina in the lead. Every time I see Giratina in the lead, I'm always worried it's going to be that bullshit, absolutely toxic double charm backline. However, if it is, the Steel Wing and Empoleon is going to absolutely pop off. Gliscor Giratina is actually a pretty neutral matchup, to be honest. However, as we're on an ABB team, this is our best answer for a fighter or a potential electric type. So we do need to keep Gliscor around. We land the Night Slash. We're actually going to shield here, trying to keep his health on Gliscor. I'm then going to farm up, bank the Night Slash, and then Safe Switch into Suicune. We do farm up, bank the Night Slash, pivot into Suicune. We do sneak the Snarl, and the opponent even dumps energy. Dragon Claw lands. The opponent then, not wanting to get farmed down, send out Pidgeot. I build to the Ice Beam bait with the Skull. Pidgeot users shield everything. This is the easiest bait of my life, and this opponent, of course, does oblige, giving up that Protect Shield. Pidgeot users also love to bait. However, this opponent actually full send a Brave Bird. Very nice trainer. I was not expecting that. Despite them lowering their own defense, I'm still going to come in with a Penguin, look to overfarm. A Brave Bird probably does around 50% to the Penguin. However, the opponent going for a really strange Feather Dance. I have no idea why. You wouldn't just Brave Bird. It is what it is. I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout, and I think this is a mistake. The opponent sends out Talonflame. I should definitely look to reset my debuff. However, I throw the Hydro Cannon, forcing a Protect Shield, then going to farm up, look to catch the Flame Charge onto Gliscor. If the opponent's smart, they'll go for an undercharge. However, we're quite low. Maybe an undercharge still knocks out. We now send back out the Penguin. The opponent looks to catch onto Giratina. The catch is unsuccessful, and this is definitely Hydro Cannon range. Hydro Cannon is going to be all she wrote. Get that stupid Talonflame off my screen. In the next battle, we see the Gliscor Mirror. So of course, Steel Wing is great for energy generation. However, it now means we don't really operate particularly well as a water type attacker. We managed to catch the Night Slash onto Suicune, and Suicune is met by Poliwrath. Again, not fantastic. However, we do resist all charge moves from them. However, their counters do hit for neutral, whereas our Snarls are resisted. Even a Scald won't quite be lethal from here. The opponent actually throw the Icy Wind, guaranteeing the debuff and getting even more farm. We're going to return fire with the Scald. The opponent easily survives, and they get a massive counter farm down. Poliwrath leaves with the Icy Wind. I am going to shield once, because it is double super effective. However, now we're at a shield disadvantage. I throw the Night Slash one before the opponent reaches the Icy Wind. If the opponent shields, it's IV dependent if we win CMP, and if we don't, I'm so annoyed at myself for throwing that move. This now is going to deplete me of my energy, and we're going to need Empoleon to do so much work in the end game. Night Slash isn't lethal, we snipe with a Steel Wing, and we're now going to play the bait game. Back out comes Gliscor. Everyone knows I no shield the first move. Does the opponent full send? Yes they do. I get nuked. Well played opponent. GG's. The tough leads continue. Of course, as we use an Empoleon, we know it takes some 6 Steel Wings to the Hydro Cannon. However, this opponent reads me like a book, hold their energy, and now they get to fire off the Drill Peck. Homesize Henry actually said when he showcased this the day before the league dropped that Drill Peck is just so underwhelming. I think this is a prime example, as my resisted Skull did more than their neutral Drill Peck, which I think is hilarious. Again, we're going to be able to survive this Drill Peck, and we're not going to get Steel Wing farmed down before we reach the next Skull. So the opponent is going to be forced to shield if they want to keep their Penguin around. The opponent does commit that shield. They do get the Steel Wing farm down. However, we can now actually enter the mirror, which I'm going to do, and look to get ahead on some energy. We send out our own Penguin. This is Shadow on Shadow Crimes. This resisted Hydro Cannon is going to do far more than you'd want it to do. The opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon, then send out Dragonite. We're going to be able to outpace to the Drill Peck. Drill Peck to Dragonite does decent damage because Dragonite cannot tank a hit for shit. The opponent needs a superpower to secure the knockout, and fuck it, we're just going to put it all on Gliscor. We look for the Steel Wing farm down. Unfortunately, we don't quite get it, and we can't even wing attack farm down before the opponent reaches the Dragon Claw. This is definitely worst case scenario. I thought I'd get that farm down, however I did not. The opponent now send out Annihilate, and we're full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? Earthquake goes unshielded. Let's go Gliscor. We can easily shield out whatever the opponent throws. The Penguin did dump its energy, so it's a very easy win con from here. When it does return, the first Night Slash will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the second one is going to be all she wrote. Gliscor putting on a clinic. GG's, and thanks for playing. Gliscor even flexing with the world's most unnecessary boost. In the next battle, we see Shadow and Shadow Crime Gliscor into Dragonite. I go straight for the Night Slash, and the opponent makes a very nice catch, catching it onto Galarian Stunfisk. We're going to look to return the favour, catching the Rock Slide onto Suicune, but the opponent recognised that's the play I was going for. Hold their energy, they now get to Earthquake me. However, Earthquake did get nerfed a couple of seasons ago and doesn't do all that much damage. This Scald won't quite be lethal, but is going to put them quite low, and to be honest, I don't really care about switch advantage. I'm pretty confident that their final Pokemon is going to be the basic bitch Tin Can, a Registeel. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for the Wing Attack farm down. If 5 Wing Attacks aren't lethal, I'm going to throw the Night Slash. Night Slash, of course, will be lethal, and the opponent isn't going to shield as a Rock Slide isn't really worth getting off. We didn't make the catch the first time, however, back out comes Dragonite. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. This time we do catch the Dragon Claw, and of course it is double Steel. These Steel Wings are resisted, however in the 2 shield, Empoleon can certainly put in work. 2 Hydro Cannons plus a shit ton of Steel Wings are pretty much going to be lethal. The opponent's Dragonite is also energy drive. The opponent smartly throw the Focus Blast, recognising I'm going to be shielding up everything, and it is cheaper. Again, we're just going to keep farming up. I'm more than happy to 2 shield here, and I'm going to look to force both Protect Shields off this Reggie. Again, we're going to over farm, fire off the Hydro Cannon. If the opponent doesn't shield this, they're going to be in Steel Wing farm down range. The opponent looking to save their shields for Dragonite. We commit to their farm down, we get it. The opponent recognising we've got energy here, there and everywhere is just going to concede the match. In the next battle, we see Escavalier in the lead. A pretty cool pick, to be honest. My team is fully non-XL, and I think it's a pretty good non-XL pick, especially there's a lot of water types this season. Then pesky fire types are a lot less common. The opponent full send the Mega Horn. I full send the Earthquake. Earthquake goes unshielded. Gliscor claims yet another victim. The opponent then send out Wall Rain and then pivot out into Charizard. I have no idea why you wouldn't stay in the Wall Rain Suicune matchup rather than send out Charizard, to be honest, as Charizard is going to be forced to shield everything, whereas I really don't give a shit. The opponent throws the Dragon Claw. Of course, Dragon Claw is neutral and Blast Burn is resisted, but Blast Burn is such a busted move that Blast Burn is way more energy efficient. The opponent again going straight Dragon Claw, which allows us to make one further Scald. Scald forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Of course, at this range, we're definitely in Dragon Claw range. The opponent going for a very nice play of undercharging. So to not give him any free farm, I pivot out into Gliscor. If I'm honest, I'd have much rather the opponent sent out Wall Rain. Because like that, with a 2 to no shield advantage, I can just massively overfarm and get a Hydro Cannon ready for this unshielded Charizard. I think the opponent makes a huge mistake, taking me out and depleting their energy. I wait out my clock, send out Empoleon. Again, this is a mistake from the opponent. They'd be in such a better spot if they at least look to force a shield with a Blast Burn before pivoting. With 2 Protect Shields here, the opponent this time go for a bait. I think that bait is super unnecessary as this game essentially is unlosable. We fire off the Drill Peck goes unshielded. We're then going to look to catch the Earthquake onto Suicune just to add insult to injury. I have no idea why I can't talk. Earthquake. There we go. From here, it's a pretty easy win con. We just farm up to 2 moves. Drill Peck takes care of Wall Rain, and Hydro Cannon will be knocking Charizard out of the sky. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Hopefully I can talk through this one. We see Gliscor into Pidgeot. Pidgeot will reach the Brave Bird or Feather Dance after 7 wing attacks. We're both using wing attacks, so I count to 7. Catch onto Suicune. Does this opponent full send? No, they don't. The opponent then answers my Suicune Safe Switch with Galarian Wheezing, and this is so bad, especially with a 2-stage debuff. The opponent fire off the Brutal Swing. These Skulls normally do quite a lot of damage, but look at this. This is just pathetic. Skull does pretty much nothing. Well, not nothing. We're going to need 3 to knock him out. However, Suicune is quite bulky. Brutal Swing won't secure the knockout. Again, we're going to throw 1 Snarl and the next Skull, and the opponent is going to be forced to dump their energy or reach another one. Skull goes unshielded. The opponent play to the CMP tie. Nice counting from the opponent. We're just going to allow Suicune to go down and send out Gliscor. Of course, I could send out Empoleon, look to Steel Wing Farm all the way down. However, I don't really fancy tanking an overheat. They could, of course, have Play Rough. We're not going to play any silly games. We tank the Brutal Swing, fire off the Night Slash. Resisted Night Slash does secure the knockout back out. Comes Pidgeot. We've got so much energy, we might as well start using it. We fire off the Night Slash. Night Slash goes unshielded. Again, we're going to look to catch, and we do catch again successfully. Annoyingly now though, we're going to be stuck with a 2-stage debuff, and the opponent's final Pokemon is Tentacruel. These Drill Pecks don't do much at the best of times, and this is now 2-stage debuffed. However, we do resist the Poison Jab, so this is still playable. We've got 2 shields, and I haven't really decided where I'm going to use them yet. You can see that Skull does quite a lot, so I guess I'm going to shield the next one. The opponent also has 2 Protect Shields, and I've got no idea at this stage how I'm going to get them off the opponent, as they definitely aren't shielding this. They can even survive 1 further Drill Peck. We are going to shield this move up. Switch Climbers are misaligned, but I did manage to catch the charge as we pivot out into Gliscor, drawing out Pidgeot. Where does the opponent spend them shields? The first one goes unshielded. Gliscor says there's plenty more of where that came from. Come on, trainer, give me that Protect Shield. The opponent does shield the first, but then throw on the CMP tie, and just like that, Wincon has been found. Pidgeot is in perfect farm down range. We can just come in, Steel Wing farm him down. The opponent's going to be unable to Poison Jab farm me down. We're just going to shield up the Scald. Hopefully it's not an Acid Spray. However, I think even an Acid Spray wouldn't mean that Poison Jab would knock out. We fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck forces the opponent's final Protect Shield, and the next one is going to be All Shiro. And that was such a long, boring matchup because Pidgeot is so annoying. Speaking of which, another Pidgeot. Much like the last game, we're going to count to 7, look to catch onto Suicune, and it looks like Pidgeot users love to spam the move as soon as they get it. Again, the opponent give me a 2-stage debuff and then send out Cresselia. Normally I'd say it wasn't the worst matchup, however these Scolds are going to do hardly anything to one of the bulkiest mon in the format. I think that looked like a Bubble Beam, to be honest. Regardless of the moveset this Cresselia is on, will easily tank 1 move. However, this opponent actually doesn't even have Grass Knot. So if we get a debuff here, they're going to be forced to throw 2 further moves. You can see we finally get Cresselia down below half health, and we even make 1 further Scald. I think there's actually a visual glitch right now where you can't see if you get the debuff or not. I'm sure we debuffed them because that Moonblast should have done more than it did to us. The opponent fire off another Moonblast. We're able to survive. We look to reach 1 further Scald. Unfortunately, the opponent does get a very nice Psycho Cut farm down. We send back out Gliscor, win the CMP tie. Night Slash goes unshielded, and we get a boost. Pidgeot now is going to start shielding, as Pidgeot is quite glassy. The first Night Slash forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. We then farm up, look to catch the Feather Dance back onto Empoleon. Once again, our poor old Penguin is stuck with a 2-stage debuff. The opponent's final Pokemon is Cobalion. Oof, this is rough. The opponent fire off the Sacred Sword as I'm 2-stage debuffed. There's no point in shielding, and we don't get new mechanic. It's now all down to Gliscor. we're going to full send the opponent with only one Protect Shield. Shield the Earthquake correctly. Oof. I still have 2 Protect Shields. You know, on this channel, we love to call baits. We call the Sacred Sword bait. Of course, now we're going to be forced to shield up Sacred Swords. And we're going to have to make sure the opponent doesn't catch. Again, we're going to have to shield. We know he's going to switch at some stage. I'm going to hold my energy. Empoleon exits 2 double kicks off the charge move. So we need to make sure we're 3 wing attacks off the Earthquake. So we can win CMP, or at least hopefully. It's actually IV dependent. If they've got a 14 or 15 attack, raid attack Empoleon, they'll win the CMP tie. Ugh. Heartbreakingly, we lose a very, very close game. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Gliscor into a Alolan Muck. A channel favourite. It's going to take him 8 poison jabs to the Dark Pulse. However, they throw after 7. This is an Acid Spray trainer. The opponent throw the Acid Spray, then send out Poliwrath. We're just going to full send the Earthquake. Earthquake going to land for huge damage or force a shield. The opponent show no respect. We're then going to farm up, look to catch onto Suicune. That is one very big Poliwrath as well. Holy smokes. The opponent fire off the Icy Wind and they're going to concede the match. Heading into the final battle of the video. So if you made it to this point, it's time to answer the question that the intro did pose to us. We see Guzzlord in the lead. Another reason I think running Aerial Ace could be good on this team, because if not, we've got to full send an Earthquake, which of course I'm going to do. Earthquake! Go shielded. Boo, Mr. Opponent. Why don't you just let me boom you? We managed to farm up, catch the next Dragon Claw onto Suicune. Dragon Claw doesn't do all that much damage, and the opponent answers us with Jellicent. Jellicent, in theory, is hitting us for neutral the entirety of the time. Our Snarls hit them for super effective, the Scald is resisted, but this isn't a bad matchup. I always shield the first one and then start fishing for debuffs. The opponent never bait. I think that'd be the world's strangest bait if they actually surf baited me there, but you never know. Depending on your elo, you might see it. Of course, in an ideal world, we'd knock out this Jelly Leaf with residual energy and hopefully force the final Protect Shield, Ice Beam in the returning Guzzlord. You can see we can easily tank that next Shadow Ball. We're going to farm up, throw the Scald on the CMP tie to the potential Surf. We do generally win the CMP tie, however, it is IV dependent. If they've got a very XL Jelly or an IV dependent, Suicune will win, especially if you've got a shitty IV like myself. The opponent actually send out Virizion. They opt to take the extra. Looking for the farm down, we can't let this Virizian's energy get out of hand, so we force the shield and then send out Gliscor. We do deplete Virizion of some of his energy, but this is still a very tricky spot. We're going to wait out our full clock, trust in a 1-shield Penguin to clean up. Come on, let's go Penguin. Of course, I'm going to instantly give up my shield advantage, shielding up the incoming Sacred Sword. The opponent recognising they're going to get outpaced, pivot out into Guzzlord. We're going to throw the Drill Peck. Drill Peck won't be lethal, but of course we need to leave with a charge move and hope it one-shots. The opponent looking to reach the crunch, which they reach. We're not that bulky. Can we survive the crunch? Crunch doesn't knock out. We look for the Steel Wing farm down and we get it. We leave with the Drill Peck. This is double super effective. Is it enough to knock out? Get that Virizion out of here. And we manage to take that game. So those were the battles with the newly buffed Shadow Core of Gliscor and Empoleon. I think both of them are very, very good picks. And Suicune has always been a favourite of mine. Scald did survive without getting nerfed this season, and it is currently going to be in Shadow Raids, I think next weekend, maybe next month, but regardless, whenever it is, certainly look for one because it is a very good pick in the Open Ultra League. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.